Welcome back to TFR eSports Season 25. Here we are for the 25th season of TFR eSports, and it's not been too long of a break compared to previous seasons, but we are back once again here in Bahrain for preseason testing. We've had the first 3 full proper sessions where the drivers have been putting in the laps, putting on the hard tyres, medium tyres, even soft tyres at the end of the sessions, and getting the laps on the board. But now that's all out the window. It's all about who can go the quickest in this slightly tweaked, newish, how would you say, shootout for pre-season testing. We did have this a couple of seasons ago in season 23 at Hungary. It was a little bit different. It was a battle between Amadi and Percy for the quickest time around the Hungaroring back in season 23. There's no Lucas Percy tonight. It's many other former champions all going for that top spot, and at the minute it is Amadi in Q1 here, who is currently quickest of the pack with a 128.1 on medium tyres. We're going to see a little bit of that in this shootout where drivers are trying to save tyres for later on in the session, as JVKP now goes quickest of everybody with a 28 dead there, and that just might throw a bit of chaos in the mix. We'll see drivers that aren't necessarily expected to be at the top could just throw a bit of havoc here with those trying to get through this first session on a set of medium tyres, or maybe even not just get a clean lap on the board. We've got Epic the Animal, Willow and Tax Collector still set times in this session with just under 8 minutes remaining. And, well, it's going to be fascinating to see. And you may be asking, what is the significance? What is the significance of this preseason shootout? Well, it's all about extra bonus percentages for the engine reliability, because per session you get through, you will gain an extra 5% in engine reliability, which again doesn't sound like much, but it will count a lot come the end of the season. And as we've seen before, you might get to that end of the season and you might just need a little bit of extra percentage to stay clear of the dreaded dice roll, where you could end up being forced into taking a new penalty in the closing rounds of the season, where you could be fighting for a championship or you could be fighting for a higher up position in the standings, and that extra couple of percentages missing catches you out. So it could have quite a bit of significance, particularly for some of the top teams. And obviously, if you get the fastest time overall in that final Q3 session, you will get a bonus 10%. So up for grabs is a whopping total of 25% extra on the engine reliability. So it is critical for some of these drivers to at least get through this Q1. But like I say, we will lose 3 drivers, and at the minute it would be Epic the Animal, Willow and Tax Collector, and I can say for sure at least 2 of them would be almighty shocked here in Bahrain. And we have got a few F2 drivers, so Tax Collector, Scones, and Sir Spark, Code Manic. They are all F2 drivers at this moment in time. Some even doing a little bit of F3, such as Scones. And, well, I think he is the only one actually here who is doing a little bit of F3 this season. Obviously, the new division added into TFR eSports. Once we're out of the way with Q1 then, I'll go through a little bit of some of the data from the free practice sessions that we've had so far this evening. And obviously next Monday we'll be getting underway for the season opener in Melbourne, and all the kind of talking stops. It will be all down to the action. But as Epic is winding it up here for a flying lap, we are just going to wait and see who is coming out the pits first. I think we've got another Mercedes of Mick Kestrel. He was doing very well in those 3 sessions already this evening, topping the times in multiple sessions, shall I say. So Mercedes look strong. They absolutely look strong, and they could be the ones to watch going into this new season. But I'll shut up for a minute. Let's watch this lap from Epic the Animal. And there you have it. That is a lap from Epic the Animal. That puts him quickest. Of course it does. With a 1:27.9 then, a 10th clear of JVKP. And Willow then out of the pits. And he's putting a bit of risk on this here. He will need to get this lap nice and clean. And he'll need to be still fairly quick though. Mint Kestrel then is out on the circuit now on a set of soft tyres. He's another driver that can't afford to invalidate his lap here, or he could also be in a little bit of bother. But we have the likes of Scones then in 14th on a lap at the minute actually, so we'll see where he can go in the Aston Martin. And there you see it on the mini-map just at the bottom right there. You can see the cars piling out the pits now, and we will see a bit of this that we don't normally see, where there's a bit of traffic and a bit of chaos at the end of the qualifying sessions. And like I say, this is unique to preseason testing, where we don't normally run a full qualifying session. So Scones here, currently on a lap. I think he's got the recharge on at the moment, so I'm not sure he's going to improve here, and I don't think he will. He's going to stay down in 14th. He's going to dive in the pit lane, so that is that done, dusted. There is Willow then, still on the outlap. There's Mint Kestrel starting his flying lap. It feels almost weird saying some of these F1 drivers' names, considering I'm usually commentating on the F2 division. But Mint Kestrel here, coming down the second straight, will not have long to go here until the end of Sector 1. We'll see what kind of time he's got on the board at the moment. And it's not purple, it's a 28.1, it's not bad. And we'll keep an eye on Willow, actually, as he comes up to that part of the circuit. But Mint Kestrel, at the minute, is improving by a chunk, but he needs a bit more. And Epic the Animal has obviously retired because he is confident he is through into Q2 here. But all the way up to Hyperghost, the rest aren't confident here. And you can kind of understand why, because that gap from 3rd to 4th is pretty big. So we could see quite a lot of change here. And I remind you all once more that it is 3 drivers that we will lose in this Q1 session. Mint Kestrel then, purple in the middle sector, 2.7 seconds up. He looks pretty safe here. He's got 1 corner to go, and he might just set the fastest time overall. Epic the Animal not quite beating the 27.8 from the sessions before, but here comes Mint Kestrel then. DRS now wide open, coming up to the line, and he does beat him. 27.7 then, and he's comfortably safe in this session. Willow setting a purple middle sector there as well, so he's going along nicely here. Tax Collector, another driver on a lap, needing a time on the board, and he's on a set of medium tyres there, so he is risking a lot going on to those with only 30 seconds left of the session. Willow then should be fine, and he is. He goes third, just under 2/10 of the pace. That was a Alpine coming up to line. Yes, it's Gagley. Goes up into 4th place, so a good time from him then on medium tyres of all things. So who is next to the line? It looks like an Alpine. No, it's not. It's Kesey, and he's improving as well by 3/10. So again, he looks safe. So let's go to the Tax Collector. He is really looking in trouble for McLaren here. The checker flag is out. So JVKP, Amadi are all done. Scones is out. Unfortunately for Scones, he is done and dusted. Just couldn't quite find the time. He did a good effort considering he is an F2/F3 driver. But here comes Tax Collector coming up to line. It needs to be good. And it's not. He's only 17th, and Hariboman is out. Hariboman is out. He's invalidated his final run, and he is out of this preseason shootout. And he's been knocked out by an F2 driver. By 2 F2 drivers, never mind. That's incredible. So Hariboman there, 1.3 seconds off the pace, and a surprise departure in Q1 here, alongside Tax Collector and Scones. There wasn't too much in it, and we've still got the final laps coming in on the board. There's a Red Bull coming around the final corner, of Code Manic, I believe that is, who is safe as he pops himself up into 14th, exact same time as Michael Luis. And, well, Hariboman there will be disappointed with that. And it is Sauber, McLaren and Aston Martin who miss out on the extra bonus from the session. Aston Martin really the big ones that have completely missed out here. And they will score no extra bonus from this shootout. And once Gangley retires, we are straight into Q2 here. So, an interesting Q1 there, with a slight surprise. Although I say surprise, Harriman obviously is into the F1 division now after coming third in the F2 Championship last season. But I didn't expect to see the likes of Codemanic and others beating him. So Spark also into P9. So a great lap from him. And, well, let's see what happens in Q2, because obviously Q2 we're going to lose 5 drivers, so that is going to be a hell of a scrap between some of them in terms of getting out. So that is your order of the top 14 there, but as I was saying, the key thing being these bottom 3 here that are knocked out of Harriman, Tax Collector and Scones. He did get through then on a set of medium tyres, so he will be pleased with that. I mean, he probably would have expected it. You would say some of the others, such as Epic the Animal, Mink Castrol, could have gone through on a set of mediums as well. Jivica P, what a lap from him, 5th place, only 2 tenths off the pace when he's really one of the more outsider drivers that have came out from F2 into F1 this season. But like I said, this is only pre-season testing, and it's just for a bit more of a bonus in the reliability, but it does give us a little bit of an idea of the slight pecking order in terms of who is where. But be sure to put a comment in on the stream on who you're supporting here, who you're wanting to win this shootout, who do you think is going to win the shootout as well. We've got about 15 minutes then of this Q2 session, so a little less time for the drivers to just sit in the pit lane and wait around, because they'll need to get out there pretty sharpish here. Scones departs the session, he's obviously out. And, well, so Spark is the first driver to exit the garage there, and will be the first driver to put a lap on the board, you can imagine, although I think he's been beaten out the pits by an RB of Schaefer. He has. So, Schaefer then will be the lead car, as you see them all absolutely piling out the pits then. A lot of drivers trying to get in there straight away. And like I say, make sure you put in any comments in on the stream. I'll try and get through as many as I can. Obviously, again, it is just a solo commentary here, so any questions are much appreciated. Right, let's have a look then at who is out of what. Hyperghost is on medium tyres. So too is Kevin Cowell, or he's thinking about it at least. Another F2 driver. I keep needing to remind myself that, but Kevin Cowell is in the F2 division this season, and so that will be one to watch in terms of a championship contender, you'd have to say. But at the minute, looking pretty good for Red Bull in terms of their F2 drivers. Kevin Cowell and Codemanic through into this Q2 session here, and it might be a bit of a task for them to get into Q3, though. They could be in that mix of drivers that could get knocked out here. Red Bull obviously have a very good F1 lineup. They have Seb Goncalves and Wheezy, so they will again be looking to go for that both championships really. Both of those drivers could win the championship in the drivers and the constructors. Potentially a better team than Mercedes. That is something up for debate potentially. But let me know in the chat, who do you think has got the better lineup, Mercedes or Red Bull in the F1 division? I think you're probably going to say, I think we're going with Red Bull probably the top. I think that is probably on paper the best. Very closely behind is Mercedes. I then think we maybe got McLaren as the third best lineup in F1 this season, with Pooley and Moslover. And then I think in fourth, we probably... it's Schaefer has a big old mistake there, getting wide and just a bit out of shape, and he'll have to let all these cars through around him, right behind him, so he was not at the front of the queue anymore. So it'll be Mint Castrol then, who will be getting the first time on the board. A little bit of a mistake there from Schaefer, and he'll have to go again, use up another set of soft tyres, or either stay on the ones He's on at the moment, and go once more. But Mint Castrol then, let's see what benchmark time he can put on the board. And the ideal scenario for some of these lot is they get that flying lap in early, and then they can save the tyres for the rest of the session because they'll be confident they'll be through. Mint Castrol then, round the final corner, coming up to the line. He sets a 1:27.5. What a lap from Mint Castrol there. A 27.5. That is a hell of a benchmark for the rest to chase. My Master then comes up to the line, goes second. Not a bad time from him. So Spark and Hyperghost a little bit off the pace there. Michael Luis definitely a little bit off the pace. We've also had Phantom Fox now popped himself up into second place. We've got a Red Bull coming up to the line, I believe that is. Invalidated that lap. Potentially we've got a Ferrari now of I'm a D goes quickest with a 27.4 statement lap from him. Just about a tenth between him and Mint Castrol though, so it's pretty close. We've also got Epic the Animal now coming to the final corner. That is the Red Bull, I think, of Codemanic just in front of him. So we'll see where he pops himself on the timing table there. Goes 8th. Epic the Animal through the final corner. Comes to the line now and goes 3rd. So look at that. The top 3 well clear of the rest. Epic the Animal just under 3 tenths off the pace. Kevin Cal only will go 8th. That's not bad. She's ahead of Hyperghost, the other driver on the medium, so that's not too bad. Schaefer then, we knew he had a scruffy lap. Kesey's also had a scruffy lap here. He's invalidated his time. So Javica P is just out of the way of that Ferrari. That was incredibly close. With the Ferrari coming towards the pits, I believe. That's my Master there. Willow is still in the pit lane. He's sitting tight for the moment. Amity then with the benchmark. Look at that, the gap from the top 3 to the rest. A whole 1 second. And, well, this is going to be interesting. Where was I in terms of the predictions, if you like, for the constructors or the lineups? Who's got the best lineup? So far I had it as Red Bull and then Mercedes. I think, what did I say? McLaren, I think. Yeah, McLaren 3rd. Let's have a look at these lineups. Yes, Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren. And then I'm thinking it's a bit of a close one, but I'm probably going to go with Ferrari because they obviously have Armady, but my Master, we're not expecting too much from him this season, although at the minute he's doing quite well in the shootout. I think then we'll go Aston Martin as the 5th best team with B29 and myself. Williams probably then after them with Willow and Kesey. I then think Alpine with Phantom Fox and Gagley. That's actually a really good solid lineup. They could very easily be 5th Alpine this season. And then what we're talking are kind of bottom 3. I think maybe Sauber, then RB, or maybe RB. So I'll go RB, then Sauber. So RB obviously Schaefer and JVKP, Sauber, Hyperghost and Harriman. So, and then I think Haas might be bottom this season, and that's not necessarily Michael Luis's fault, but yeah, it's very, very close, very, very close between all of those teams. And it's definitely a bit of a split in terms of the top kind of drivers or top teams, if you like. There's a good scrap for the top 4, and then I think you've got Alpine, Aston Martin, Williams in their own battle for 5th, and then you've got the 3 at the back. Well, I say at the back, but the 3 teams with a lot of F2 drivers coming up of RB, Sauber and Haas. So let me know again what your predictions are, because I see there's still no comments in on the stream. So let me know what you think your constructor standings will look like. Javic P then has gone very strong again here and has put himself up into P4 now. So really impressive stuff. Willow then is now on a lap, but Javic P really is flying in this shootout here. I think Phantom Fox as well has improved slightly there in 5th place, just with a bit more breathing room to my master whilst I was reading out those lineups. But Willow there picking up a little bit of a slipstream as he comes towards the end of the second sector here. And Willow needs again a lap here, but he's doing a little bit of a similar tactic to the Q1 session where he seems to go a little bit later than everybody else, gets a better first run, and then gives himself a bit of breathing room to play with for his final run in the session. He rounds the final corner then, and will come up to the line, a bit wide there, a bit wide right up to the white line, and is fortunate maybe not to invalidate, but he goes 5th, and he is comfortable at the moment. So, who next? We'll go to down the order, and Schaefer has invalidated. So, again, a bit of a scruffy moment for Schaefer there. The pressure will be on him with about 5.5 minutes to go here. Kesey still with no lap on the board. Michael Luis is gone again here. He's down in 13th at the minute. A bit of a surprise. Komanik as well, going again in the drop zone. Hyperghost is the other driver that will get knocked out here in 11th. And I tell you, we still have a couple of F2 drivers, Sir Spark and Kevin Cowell, currently sitting in the positions to progress through to Q3, which would be quite a shock, and it'd be quite a statement as well ahead of the season. And obviously we do track people's pace in terms of the divisions, but if they both work their way into Q3 here, that kind of says a lot. But let's keep an eye on the times then. Michael Luis is flying through the final corner there. He's up by quite a chunk on this lap, and he might just pop himself well inside the top 10 here. Yes, he does. He goes 5th. A much better lap then from the reigning F2 champion. Goes 5th place. And can the others follow him up the order? Komanik as well will be next across the line. I think My Master as well is on a lap. Let's see what Schaefer's first sector time is. And he's invalidated again. He's just gone a little bit over that white line there. And Schaefer invalidates again. He's in big trouble then. My Master hits the line, goes 5th. He is looking a lot more comfortable now. Komanik as well goes 10th. So another F2 driver replaces a different F2 driver, goes 10th. And that is a heck of a lap, just to gain a couple of tenths there and put himself in the mix. So, Schaefer then obviously will need to get back to the pits and go for another lap, because at the minute he still has no time on the board, and that's about 3 attempts. So Ferrari cutting up the track. I think that's My Master trying to get back to the pits, but he should be okay. At the minute, it's, what is that? That's about a 7/10 safety net that he's got at the moment. So he should be fine. Gagley here, let's see what this lap is looking like. It's a good middle sector, and he is absolutely flying at the minute. So he should, this could be even a top 5 time here from the Alpine driver. Going along very nicely. Phantom Fox could soon be in a little bit more trouble here with the pace that his teammate is putting in here. Here comes Gagley then in the Alpine, and he does go 3rd. What a final sector from him. Gain a few more tenths of a second. 2 tenths then off Ahmadi. What a lap from him. So, Komanik then is at the minute going through by the skin of his teeth, with Sir Spark in 11th on an outlap. Kevin Cowell and Hyperghost all on outlaps as well. They're not messing around here. They need to get out there and get on the track. Kesey is still not out there on the track. So he really is just going for one flying run here. And because of the yellow flags on the screen, there we go, we've got the thing now. It's 2.5 minutes to go. This is it. This is it pretty much for some of these drivers. Kesey is still not out of the pits. He is leaving this right down to the very last moment. Schaefer as well will need to be scampering out the pit lane. I think that is him out of the pits, and I think that might be Kesey as well. So there's a lot of cars in the pits. Komanik is done. He will not get back out in time unless he absolutely races out the pit lane. Phantom Fox, is he coming out? I think he might be. Willow is out on the circuit. Is Kesey actually out there? I don't think he is. And there's another car coming out the pits now, but it is incredibly tight on time. Schaefer is out there on the circuit. Is that? I think it is. It is Keezy coming out the pit lane right now. There he is. He is onto the circuit. So he has absolutely left this to the very last moment here. Again, I have no timing on the left because of the silly yellow flags. And we will have to just go for this here. But Sir Spark is going to get us going. And there you have it. The top 6 all feel fairly comfortable. Mint Kestrel's out there. Gagley's now back in the pits. My Master's actually going out for another run. He's shot across the turn 1. He needs to kind of probably stop doing that. But as Mint Kestrel now goes fastest of everyone with a 27.3. What a lap from him. So Spark then, what can he do? We've got a minute to go, so I think they should all be fine. They should get to line in time. I can see my Master is basically making this track a straight line at the minute. So Spark is 3 tenths up. At the minute, he will be going into Q3. It's a great first sector from him. What about Kevin Cow? I didn't quite catch it in time. Neither did I for Hyper Ghost. So those 3 are all very close on the circuit here. And Code Manic then is still on an outlap. He's got 30 seconds to get to the line. I think he should do it in time. But it's going to be oh so close for some of them. Is that Code Manic? No, it's not. That's Code Manic then in the final sector. I think that's his teammate, Kevin Cow, obviously at the back of this pack here. So Spark then, 7 tenths up of the middle sector. What a time that is. Kevin Cow is not improving as much at the moment. And he's not. He is not improving enough. Hyper Ghost just in front of him. Here we go then. Sir Spark through the final corner. Absolutely flooring it here because he's on a great lap at the moment. Where will he go? Go 7th. He's absolutely out. Kevin Cow's 10th. Kevin Cow is 10th. Has he knocked out one of the F1 drivers? Phantom Fox is still out there, and he's improving by an absolute sliver. It might just be enough. And Comanic is also improving enough at the minute, but he needs much more than that. Keezy is also out there at the moment. Schaefer then is the front of the queue, all trying to knock out Kevin Cow here. Hyperghost, like I say, is already out. Schaefer here, a 6.5 mil sector is not bad. It's not bad. I've seen that for the likes of Gangley so far in this session. So Schaefer could be on for a good lap here. Phantom Fox right behind him. We'll need to keep an eye on him. But here comes Schaefer then. Through the final corner. Absolutely trying to keep it within the white lines. The RB comes up to the line. And he is out. He's only 13th. Phantom Fox is out as well. What a shock that is. He's been knocked out by an F2 driver. And Code Manic, who else is that? Someone is now out. It's all down to Code Manic. If he can absolutely pull a lap from nowhere here. No, it's only 14th. He is out as well. Schaefer is down in 15th. He had too many rough laps there. Hyperghost is in 13th. Phantom Fox, the big shock there. Knocked out in Q2. And an F2 driver of Sir Spark is into Q3. Well. There we have it. So that is your order then for the Q3 session. Mint Castrol is quickest with Imadi alongside now Gagley, Epic the Animal and Willow. We've then got Javicapi, My Master and Sir Spark. The big surprise there, the F2 driver sneaking through there in 8th with Keezy and Michael Louise joining him. But Kevin Cow just missing out by just over a 10th of a second. And Phantom Fox, the real surprise there, losing a bit of time in the final sector and missed out in big start. We've got a few more comments and then on the stream we've got CMH saying Willow will win. Chazza Games, I think that's how that is. Me and Harperman heavily underrated there, I think. I presume that will be Hyper Ghost. Well, let's see. So Harperman saying I will enjoy our battles for 15th. Yes, I will. And well, here we go then. We're into Q3 and let's just see them. Who is going to have the quickest time of everyone here? But that was I actually thought that was really good. Q2 session there. That was right on a knife edge. Didn't really know who was going to get knocked out right until the very end. And in the end, surprisingly, Phantom Fox is kind of woes continue, you'd have to say. Because we know he can do better than that. But it is only pre-season. It's not like there's too much lost at the moment. And I need to find out actually who was that. Who was the third car that was knocked out there? We had Kevin Cal, Phantom Fox, and somebody else. Let's have a quick look on the thing. Hyperghost, that was the one. Hyperghost. So, right, who will come out on top in Q3? Let me know in the chat who is going to win this one. And yeah, shame for Schaefer in that session there, because yeah, we know he can do better than that, but he just couldn't quite get the time on the board there. Had quite a few invalidated laps. And yeah, quite a surprise though with some of the orders. And this man here really putting in a surprise in the McLaren, getting an extra 10% now for that team just from him alone. So he is on it around this track. And well, I thought it was pretty good. That was pretty good, that Q2 session. So Spark then gets us underway. We do actually have the car in front of him, which is not Gagley. Who's that? Somebody's in front of him on the track. Is that a Williams? Yes, it's Willow who is the front of the queue. So let's see. It looks like we've got a straight fight here between Armady, the two Mercedes, and maybe Gagley getting in the mix. You could maybe say as well, Javier P is just hanging around there in the fight for pole here. But these are the first laps. We've only got 9 minutes to go. It's a quick Q3 session here, which is what we like to see. And Willow then will be the first driver to hit the end of Sector 2. And let's see what his time is for the moment. And it is looking like a 1.6 dead. That's not bad. Imadi is just behind on the road. And he sets a 5.5. So he is flying. And we've also got the two Mercedes in the mix. One of those Mercedes is actually in a bit of traffic, stuck behind one of the RBs. Here comes Will of them. This will be the benchmark. It's a 27.9. Not a bad lap. And it's already quicker than Spark. Mint Kestrel then has the provisional pole at the moment. IMD is second. My Master fourth there. Here is Epic the Animal with a bit of a tow. Is only third. I say only because he's had a hell of a lot of traffic there and gets very, very close to the Alpine of Gagley then. Gagley down in sixth with a bit of a rough lap from him. Michael Lewis will be the last driver across the line, but Mint Kestrel then 68 thousandths of a second ahead of Imadi, the reigning champion, and it is looking as close as we expected at that very top end of the field. Michael Lewis then goes into ninth ahead of Spark. And, well, an interesting order then. The two Williams going along very nicely in fourth and sixth there. And you could argue Kesey could even jump ahead of JVKP. You almost feel like you're ready for the race after watching this qualifying session. But we'll save that for Melbourne next Monday night. But Mint Kestrel then with the first flying lap. And setting down the marker. Will we see anyone else get back out there for a second run? Will they get 3 runs in this short Q3 session? I think they'll be bold to try it. But if they've got a spare set of tires, as the likes of Amadi, who just smashes the braking board there, he might actually have a spare set of softs. So he is diving in the pits ahead of his teammate there and almost clatters into the Mercedes coming in the pit lane. And well, let's see who will win out on the second runs. Who will actually come out for a third run? because they might be able to squeeze it in if they're very quickly here. But, well. So, just going through the chats here, no kind of major faults from the drivers after that Q2 session. But now it is the slight wait, and I think someone... No, there was just a slight movement on the time board. That is Kesey coming in the pit, so he's not going out for another lap. This could be just a little bit of waiting here for the drivers to return to the circuit. And it all goes quiet for the moment. And I can see the Ferrari garage moving there. Yes, it is Amadi coming back out of the pits. Yeah, so an extra set of soft tyres means he's going to go again here. And, well, your reigning champion here, saving the tyres earlier on, enabling him to go for another run. Is that also teammate, my master as well, getting ready in the pit lane there? We'll move on and keep an eye with Amadi. And I'll keep an eye on the mini-map to see if anyone does. Also it is his teammate, my master, also coming out. So he obviously has an extra set of soft tyres already. He's doing his final run now. But Amadi then, if he's quick here, then obviously he will continue on his lap. But if he knows that he's not going to improve, then the advantage he's got here, he can dive back in the pits and get a fresh set of boots on once more. So his teammate then, my master, they are a fresh set of soft tyres he's got there. So, but he as well is a bit short in time, and he also cuts right across the track. And well, you'd have to say that would be quite hilarious if he clattered that curb a bit too much and ended up putting that car in the barrier, because yeah, that's not the way the circuit goes. Amadi then, what can he do? What can he do to just take off 68 tenths of a second? I've seen someone say in the chat they're nervous. That's incredible for pre-season testing. And there's drivers that are slightly nervous going on this lap. Here is Amadi then. Let's ride on board with him for this flying lap. We've got another car coming out of the pits. That is a Mercedes. That might be Mint Kestrel coming out the pit lane just behind Amadi then. Heavy braking into the first corner, just misses the apex, but that's not too bad because you can set it up then for this next corner to get the car nice and straightened up, and the power down for this second DRS straight. That is actually the effort of the animal just behind Amadi, who runs the car nice and wide there to then again straighten up the corner, get the power down on the exit. Again, he cut across the circuit a little bit there, and he's slightly down. He's just under a tenth of the pace at the moment. Into this hairpin here. Just got to be so careful with the turn in that you don't over-rotate the car. He keeps it nice and smooth there. Whether it was quick, here's another question in terms of taking that pole time. Big lock up on the front left, that'll be okay. He gets the car slowed down for the third DRS straight of the lap. Common thing here is to get the car over the curb to again make the corner as wide as possible to then set it up for this lovely flowing part of the lap. A little bit of curve on the inside, bit of a risk, and he's improving. He's found time. Amadi then, a tenth and a half up at the minute. Again, bit wide out that corner there. That's absolutely fine. He needs to set it up now, get the brakes absolutely spot on for this final corner. Yes, he does. Clips the apex perfectly. Comes up to the line then. Will this be the shootout pole? Yes, it is. By 1.5 tenths, pretty much. And Epic the Animal will be right back after him, and so too will be Mint Kestrel, because these will be the final runs here. And Amadi will not get another time in, you would absolutely be sure of it, unless he's put more fuel in the car. So, Epic the Animal, we know he can do better. He's got a McLaren on the inside there. Good job he gets out of the way. We've also had another improvement. That's Mine Master then, up into 4th place. 7 tenths off the pace, but he's up into 4th. I say it again, let me know on the chat who you think is going to get the shootout pole here. Because Epic the Animal, can he find enough time? He's got a lot of time to make up, but he had traffic on his lap. And he's at the minute just about half a tenth up in the first sector. Just clips the curb a tiny bit there. Just offsetting the car a touch. But again, we'll get away with it. As long as the car is not sliding around too much. He won't be losing too much time there. Probably one of the hardest corners on the track, that left-hander there. But absolutely makes it look a breeze. And with a minute and a half to go, these guys really are on their final runs here. We'll see if Amadi does dive into the pits. We have every car out on the circuit at the moment. A lot of cars, about 5 of them, are still on outlaps. Epic the Animal is a 10th up in the middle sector. A little bit wide though there. A little lock up and a little bit wide. And I don't think this is going to be enough for pole unless it's an almighty final corner here from the American. Can he snatch that pole time off Amadi? No, he improves by 2/10, but it's just not quite enough. Mint Kestrel, though, is absolutely flying here. Could he make a real statement here and take the pole off Amadi? Here he comes. No, he misses out by 4 thousandths of a second. Incredible stuff then. And Mint Kestrel just misses out. Gagley, though, with a brilliant first sector there. Purple in the first sector, so we'll need to keep an eye on him in just a moment. We've got another car coming up to the line. I think that is Javier Capit starting his final run. Got a couple of cars then on outlaps. That's Michael Ruiz then, who'll be next to the line on a flyer here. And we'll see if those Mercedes have got anything left in the tyres to go for one more run. But what a lap then from Mint Kestrel, but not quite enough. Michael Ruiz then up to the line, currently 9th. Goes 5th. Good lap from him. Very close in that midfield there. And Gagley is purple in the middle sector. 5/10 up. He still needs to find a heck of a lot in this final corner. But he could be looking at a top 4 in this shootout here. Here comes Gagley then up to the line in the Alpine. And he does go 4th. 3/10 off. 6.5 improvement. That is a serious good time then. So Spark coming through the final corner. Can he beat an F1 driver in Q3 here just for the hell of it? No, he doesn't. He improves, but not quite enough. Kesey and Jeff Capit are all comfortably safe of him. And Epic the Animal did dive in the pits. Let's have a look at Mint Kestrel actually, because he is coming up to the line here. And no, he's definitely way off. I was just about to say, if I had missed that, I would have been devastated. Javier Capit then is coming out to line as well. Didn't quite see his sector time there, so let's just see how this goes. And it's 5th. Great time from him. Puts my master a little bit further down. It's the couple of Williams next up. Willow then up to the line, and he's 3rd. What a lap from him. A 10.5 off, and his teammate remains 9th. But what a time there from Willow right at the death. But it is Amadi then who is top of the preseason shootout, with a stunning lap then at the end there in the Ferrari. His new team, and it's still the same result, but it's super close there. And a real interesting order in terms of who is where, with Mint Kestrel 2nd, Willow a bit of a surprise at the end there in 3rd, but Epic the Animal in 4th. Maybe slightly frustrated with that considering how his first run went. And then my master, the other Ferrari, a little bit further down in 7th. But an interesting order there, and a very close fight for the best of the rest. But then the top 2 were long gone of everybody else. Right, that is your lot then. And, well, Kobanic predicted Kestrel and pole, D in 2nd and Epic 3rd. Didn't quite happen. And D won't have enough time to go out. You're right, Kobanic. But that is that. That is that for preseason testing. And thank you to everyone who participated in the sessions this evening. It's been a long night, but it sets up the season very nicely. And all the engine reliability numbers will be out by probably tomorrow now. But and all the information from who is where. Thank you to Rekas as well and Alfie for doing the commentary earlier. I've been CJH, and we'll see you in the next one.